the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills will have a 3-team race to win the AFC East title. This can be one massive problem because one of these teams can miss the playoffs due to the competitiveness of the division and the conference. Our rankings for this division are different, so our conversations in this video will get heated. Maybe.
The AFC East, the battle of 3 teams. So let's just get number 4 out of the way. I'm sure it's the same. Hopefully the rest of it isn't. It's the New England Patriots. New era.
New England Patriots. No quarterback, basically. Obviously, Drake May is going to look like to be who's going to take over. I'm not going to say necessarily start the week 1 because Jacoby Brissett's there. Running back wise, they're still fine. Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson as backup. But really after that, yeah, it's yikes. O-line's obviously decent. Patriots defense, really good.
Yeah.
I was like every year, they're really good. Like last year, I think they held so many opponents to 10 points. And they found a way to only win one of those games.
Their secondary is amazing, right? Christian Gonzalez, before he got hurt, could have been a D-Roy candidate.
Kyle Duggar
and Jabril Peppers. Pretty solid there. In the pass rush wise, we'll see. Because Judon was kind of beefing.
But just take this into perspective. They held so many teams with 10 points.
Yeah.
And they lost almost every one of those games.
Yeah.
And I feel like their offense got worse than last year.
True.
In my opinion.
And then Ayuk rejected them. They had a trade package and everything ready to go. Ayuk rejected them, which doesn't help. But yeah, Judon, I saw a report that him and Gerard Mayo kind of got out of it, but maybe that could really just be a player-coach thing. And then obviously, like you said, frustration. It's going to be all on the defense again next year. They're no longer the kings of not even just the division, the conference, but all the NFL. They have the Gerard Mayo era. They have a new GM and everything, so it depends on how we go. And then, like you said, offensively, Joe Milton is stepping up on quarterback out of nowhere. They took him the same draft as Drake May, but we know it's going to be Drake.
Should be Drake May, yes.
They're going to make it everything possible for Drake May to win the job and keep the job. Hopefully, it's no Bailey Zappi, Mac Jones situation with him. But yeah, at the end of the day, they're rebuilding. They're going to be a top 3 pick next year. They might go get, Travis Hunter or whoever else is going to be available in the top defensively or offensively college guys. Hopefully for their sake, offensively, because Hunter Henry, yeah, decent, old though. And then Kendrick Bourne, he might be a trade candidate as well. So we'll see how it goes with them. Let's just move on.
Let's see how it goes. Just be last place in the division. That's how it's going to go. When you have the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills in the division.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Patriots are dead last for sure.
So here it gets tough.
I don't know.
Are you going to get a different thing?
I don't know. I generally don't know.
I still don't know, but
I'll say my team.
Go.
Miami Dolphins.
3?
At number 3.
Explain, because we are different.
So I'm just looking at, I legit compared all 3 teams, right?
Yeah.
And I think Miami and Buffalo have more question marks on defense. Buffalo, in terms of they lost their veterans, like Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde. Miami, in terms of injuries, right? Jalen Phillips is coming off Achilles.
He's off the POP, though, which is a good sign.
Good sign. Bradley Chubb, ACL, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And he's going to miss the first few weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Again, those are their 2 edge rushers. They lost Christian Wilkins. So, they replaced him with Calais Campbell, but you lost Christian Wilkins, which is a big, big loss in terms of run game wise as well, in your D tackle spot. Cornerbacks I love, as long as Jalen Ramsey is healthy. I like the cornerbacks. Again, I like the safeties. The secondary I have no issues with the secondary. It's just everything below that, edge rush wise, it's just injury questions. I don't question Phillips, and obviously definitely don't question Chubb's talent. But Wilkins' loss and with those injuries, I just can't have a clear picture on defense wise. Offensively, O-lines again decent, not the worst, not the best. Weapons, best in the division.
By far.
By far.
BJ's a luxury there.
Yeah, exactly. But
as long as he's healthy.
Tua Tagovailoa is the biggest question mark at quarterback from the 3, right? Allen, Rodgers, Tua. Biggest question mark is Tua coming off. He's going into a back contract year now, right? It's like $50 million, I believe. And all he could do is throw short, right? Only throw bombs when Tyreek gets open. And if Tyreek gets locked up, which, I won't say locked up, slowed down, that takes away Tua's effectiveness. And that's not how it should work. The wide receiver should be as effective as the quarterback. The quarterback should not be relying on the wide receiver. And for that reason, I'm going with number 3. That doesn't mean they're missing the playoffs. All right? That does not mean they're missing the playoffs.
Yeah, fair.
But compared to the other 2 teams, I think Miami's number 3.
For me, Do I talk about my number 3 then, or do you want me to talk about Miami and where I have them?
Talk about your number 3.
Okay, number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. All right. I feel like, okay, we might be slightly debating, but at the same time, you're like, I could see that happening. I could see that not happening. Number 3, I was actually picking between the Jets here as well, because the Jets have drama, but we'll get to that in a second. I went with the Bills, right? And the main reason, like, yeah, your defense points, their defense is still decent enough. Yes, they lost their veterans in the secondary, especially. That's where they're probably going to struggle a little bit. I like Taylor Rapp, but then Damar Hamlin, we know what happened with him and how much that will affect them.
Rasul Douglas is good.
Rasul Douglas is a stud who they added last year. And then pass rush wise, like
Sharon Johnson is really good too.
Yeah, and pass rush wise, they still have Matt Milano in the linebacker. Pass rush wise, I like Ed Oliver, I like Greg Rousseau. They still have Von Miller. Hopefully he has a better year.
And their linebacker Bernard is actually a stud too.
Yeah, him, as well.
I remember because they all had injuries. Bernard stepped in.
Yeah.
And then he was killing it, but then he got injured. So like that's what kind of ruined the Bills last year.
The offense is going to concern me. And I get it. Defense wins championship and all that. But like during the regular season, their offense is going to be concerning to me. You lose Stephon Diggs. Yes, I understand there was drama there. You lose your other guy then in Gabe Davis. You draft Keon Coleman, but you're going to put pressure on a rookie who went in the second round and not in the first. He's not one of those elite guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze were. And then, yes, I like your tight end core between Dalton Kincaid and then Dawson Knox. That's
actually
solid.
really good, yeah.
And I get Mark, who's Joe Brady, fixed in. Like the running game is fine. James Cook, okay, that's it though. Like I don't see
Josh Allen.
Okay, well, yeah, him.
But he's
running back specifically.
Yeah.
It is still a position where you could get hurt, right? And you want a decent running back with him. It's like, okay, and then obviously as he's not anything special, but Chase Claypool just got out for the year. We're a chance for him to revive his career in a perfect situation. My concern is Josh Allen might have to go hero mode a little bit more in terms of try to extend plays, especially. And who is going to be his pass catchers right now? Khalil Shakir, I get it. He was decent last year, but he hasn't been. No one on this team has shown they're a number one, they're consistent number one on the roster, and that is true. That's where I'm concerned.
A lot of question marks. I agree with you. All those are question marks. I personally believe the offense is better than the defense. I'll say that right now. Reason being, Joe Brady came in and actually fixed stuff. Another reason why I think Josh Allen does go hero ball is because he's trying to make Stephon Diggs happy. Right, he's trying to make Stephon Diggs work.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do that anymore because Stephon Diggs is not there anymore, right? Shakir's not going to care if he's getting number one targets. Coleman's definitely not going to care, and he shouldn't care because he's a rookie.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't have anyone else that's, at the end of the day, Diggs does, deserve to be, where are my touches? Because he is that good of a player. But there's no one on that receiving core that's going to say that, right? He could spread the ball out and find who's open. Tight end-wise is really good because if you have good tight ends, they also complement well with the play action game as well.
Fair.
And obviously running game, they finally got James Cook going, right? James Cook honestly could break out this year in my opinion and be like one of those I think he could be a top 5, top 10 at least running back this season.
My counter to your Diggs point is Diggs at least deserved, he deserved the touches, but he got the attention because he deserves that attention among defenses. Who is that guy now, right? So that's a big factor. Like sometimes you may have to double team Diggs. I'm not saying last year was a specific case, but I'm saying in general. Now they don't have that guy. Gabe Davis has shown that he could be a solid number 2 if that were to happen to Diggs. Right now, you're banking on a Keon Coleman, you're banking on Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel to be those guys. MVS is there for the speed route. I get it, but how much is he going to be used, right? So it's going to be the tight end running back game to start off with until they could get going. So to your point, fair. But I just have concerns with it.
It is concerning.
Trump is lost.
But another point to that Diggs thing is Diggs was a non-factor in this Joe Brady offense.
True.
Right?
Fair. Yeah.
He made zero impact on this team. And that's probably one of the reasons why, he didn't even get catches or touches. He dropped a pass in the Chiefs game, which was crucial, right? Diggs just wasn't that guy in this type of offense. And it made sense for them to move on from him. And for that, I think that's going to help Josh Allen. It's going to kind of remind me of somehow, some way, Tyreek Hill leaving turned out to be a blessing in disguise for Mahomes. That first year, obviously not the second year, right? But that first year, Mahomes won MVP. I'm not saying Josh Allen is Mahomes, don't get me wrong. But I feel like this might be better for Josh Allen because now he could play more freely. He doesn't have to look for digs.
Yeah,
He could look for everyone.
which is fair. But then on the flip side, it could hurt.
And Joe Brady has the potential of, and Joe Brady's shown the potential of taking the pressure off Josh Allen, whereas Ken Dorsey didn't do that. Ken Dorsey did not just put everything on Allen. Joe Brady is trying to take the pressure away from Allen.
Quick question for you before we move on to the number 2 team. If my prediction is right, they finish third. Fine. Let's just say they barely make the playoffs. Sean McDermott fired, yes or no? Assuming it's not a deep playoff run.
I don't know. I think they might need to make changes, and I think that might be the first change they would make. It just depends on the defense, because that's what McDermott is more of a defensive guy.
Yeah.
And I think if the defense doesn't play good, right? And I was especially last year. I think McDermott did a great job last year with all the injuries.
Yeah, I was concerned.
Somehow made him competitive.
Yeah.
Right. But if McDermott doesn't if it was like the year where Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes played the greatest game ever that I've witnessed, and the defense, which was ranked number 1, lets him down.
Yeah.
That's going to be on McDermott, and that's probably going to get more heat on him. But I don't think McDermott gets fired if they make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, that's a different story.
Yeah. So flip-flopping with the number 2 team I have is the New York Jets. I was considering the Bills because the Jets have too much uncertainty coming into the year, right? On paper, they look amazing offensively, and they had a good defense last year led by Robert Saleh. But the question there, the issue, first, to get the main question out of the way. Are they going to get Hassan Reddick done? The guy requested a trade already after being traded, which is like, okay, I get it. You maybe been promised something or not. Jets came out and said, we're not trading him. So
why would you?
But if I'm the Jets, I get that done because you're in win now mode, right? Defensively, there's not much to say. They were a solid defensive pairing last year. Their secondary is amazing with Sauce Gardner and Chuck Clark leading the way in their respective position groups. Quentin Williams is really good himself. If Hassan Reddick is playing, their pass rush should be fine. I like their linebackers. I like CJ Mosley. I like Quincy Williams.
Quincy Williams was great last year.
Right? And then very quickly, I'll go to the offense before I let you go with your number 2. I don't know if it's the same or not, but Aaron Rodgers is back. That's a big factor, right?
Yeah.
That's huge.
No, it's a little shit.
But the thing is, how much is he linked with those, I get it, he has Hackett back, but you got to remember, Matt LaFleur was the main play caller. And how much is he going to be on the same page with different receivers he has? Yes, there's rumors of Devontae Adams being traded there. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet. We can't go with that. But Breece Hall is going to be massive next year. He had a really good year last year. Garrett Wilson's a stud, number 1. You add Mike Williams, but we all know the question Mike Williams is.
And men like turf as well.
Yeah.
So, my number 2 is the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. I had a once you put Miami 3.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much about the Bills in terms of, because I already said a lot about them.
Yeah.
In terms of their offense and defense. But there's one thing I want to say. When I'm looking at quarterbacks, Tua had the most question marks. Allen and Rodgers do have question marks, don't be wrong, but I think Tua is the bigger question mark. Weapon-wise, obviously, Jets are better than Buffalo in that terms. And I think defensively-wise, in the division, honestly, Patriots might be in this conversation too.
Yeah.
I think the Jets might have the least question marks.
Patriots out of it. They didn't have to do anything else.
I think the Jets might have the least question marks on defense in the division compared to those 3 teams. And that's the reason why I put the Bills number 2. I think Josh Allen will be much better. I think Josh Allen will do a better job. I'm not going to say he's going to eliminate his turnovers, but I think he'll do a better job at taking care of the football. And I feel like that's why I put him ahead of the Bills. The Dolphins. And but I just don't buy the fact that, like, especially if Aaron Rodgers is back and healthy with an improved O-line as well, I think the Jets were legit missing a quarterback last year. I think the Jets were perfectly fine when they were playing the games. They just had no quarterback, right? No offense, Zach Wilson, but you were pretty bad.
The many others that played.
And the many others that played. You were pretty bad. Like, with Aaron Rodgers being back, that's going to be a lift. That's a mood changer for everything, for every part of that team. So that's why the Bills are 2 for me.
Talk about the Jets then. You're number 1. Just very quickly.
Jets are number 1. Aaron Rodgers is back. Improved O-line, so I think he shouldn't be getting hurt on the first play of the season. I hope. Again, Breece Hall, stud. Garrett Wilson, stud. Mike Williams, solid number 2 option if he's healthy. Tyler Conklин's a solid tight end as well.
Yeah.
And defensively, you said it, secondary solid, right? Like DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, solid 1-2 cornerback punch. Chuck Clark's good, solid veteran safety. Linebackers are good with Mosley and Williams. And then their front 4, if Reddick is playing, I think it's Quentin Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Hassan Reddick, and I'm missing one more. If you,
it is
Javon Kinlaw.
Yeah.
Kinlaw.
Yeah.
Solid front four, right? And the reason why I'm not too worried about Hassan Reddick, they didn't have Hassan Reddick last year.
True.
And their
He's a
defense,
luxury.
and
I
their
get it.
defense, he's just a luxury. He's an additional piece. He's not a core. He's not a core guy, right? That's Sauce Gardner. That's Quinton Williams. Robert Saleh already knows how to, make this defense function. They functioned really well last year. The defense wasn't the issue. I think it was more obviously not having Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is back. I think all the answers are questions for questions are answered for the Jets, and I think they have the least question marks for me heading into the season.
That's why I put them at number 2 ahead of the Bills. Everything you said there. That's the main reason why I was concerned about the drama. At the end of the day, off-field issues do take a part sometimes. Behind the scenes, you know that.
Yeah, obviously distractions are a thing.
But the reason why I go Dolphins number 1.
Yeah, let's talk. You talk about your Dolphins.
Not my Dolphins.
Your Dolphins. Well, I mentioned everything, so I already talked about Dolphins.
Right about Tua, question mark, and he got paid. I get that, but at the end of the day, this team also has the most continuity coming in, and adding OBJ, assuming he's healthy. I know he's currently labeled as out on the depth chart. Is a luxury. We saw what he did with the Rams, right? And I get it. Matthew Stafford is better than Tua Tagovailoa. I get that, but you're also being coached by Mike McDaniel. He's shown in the past, yes, they choked a little late down the stretch where they should have not been playing the Chiefs in Kansas City instead of hosting a playoff game, maybe even a bye. I'm not sure if they were the bye.
No, they lost to the Ravens the week before.
Yeah. Okay, so then for me, that's like they have the most continuity, right? Offensively, Tua Tagovailoa, he's still a decent quarterback at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's not Zach Wilson, right?
He's solid.
Raheem Mostert and Devin A-Chain are a really good running back duo where they played well and they had a lot of speed. Speaking of speed, not the extreme range. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, right?
Yeah.
Because Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, right? And then on top of that, that's where you add OBJ. Jonnu Smith, they fixed the tight end position a little bit. I'm not saying he's the same old Jonnu Smith, but he's still formidable in this type of offense, in my opinion. And then, yes, their O-line it's in the middle of the pack.
It took a hit. I forgot to mention this before, but they also lost Robert Hunt in their O-line.
Yeah.
As well. So Hunt and Wilkins are their two big departures. In this
defensively, I'm a fan of these guys. Yes, I get it. The health is still going to be a factor. They obviously got rid of Vic Fangio. There was a lot of issues there. They add the Ravens assistant from last year and Anthony Weaver, who was in the Mike McDonald defense, who obviously ended up taking the Seattle job. And they were a really good defense last year. And he's a D-line coach as well. So I feel like adding Calais Campbell, that could at least... we don't know what the status of Bradley Chubb is going to be later in the season, but that's a good replacement for the time being. Jalen Phillips is off the PUP list. That's very encouraging for a guy who had a pretty solid start to his career minus the injuries in terms of when he's on the field. Jordan Brooks is in the linebacking core now, and I love their secondary. Javon Hall and Canadian boy, shout out Coquitlam. Jalen Ramsey, Jordan Poyer is there now. I get it. Marcus May is there, right? Overall, I think their defense might be even hungry from last year, and maybe a guy like Anthony Weaver will do what Vic Fangio couldn't and put them over the top and finally win the division. I'm picking this the year them for finally win the division and maybe even win a playoff game.
So Fuller's also a good cornerback behind you.
Fuller as well.
I agree with you. Secondary, I have no issues with. I only had their issues with their injuries on their front seven. Again, offensively, some injury issues as well with the Waddle and obviously Odell Beckham, who's very rarely healthy these last few years, apart from barring last year.
Yeah.
Tua, again, injury prone. We never know what can happen with him.
There.
Known to be choke artists as well, the Dolphins.
We have Joe Flacco waiting for them if they need to.
Yeah. That is true. First round pick for Joe Flacco. But one last thing about Mike McDaniel is that, again, the Dolphins kind of reminds me of like the Kingsbury Cardinals. They start strong, but they can't find a way to blow it late.
A lot of it has been injuries, to be
a lot of it's injuries and all that stuff. Mike McDaniel, great coach. Is he a quarter? He's not really, in my opinion, a quarterback whisperer. He's more of a run game whisperer, and there's a reason why Miami's run game is really good. There's a reason why he acquired all this speed. I think Mike McDaniel needs to step it up a little bit this season as
fair
personally,
for sure.
But overall, I just have the least question marks for the Jets coming into the season. So that's why I have Jets, Bills, Dolphins, and obviously the Patriots.
Yeah, for me, the continuity was a big factor. I think Mike McDaniel knows a lot of these guys. OBJ, you don't need to make him a number one, right? He could just come in there, roll in the slot area especially. But yeah, that's me. I have Dolphins, Jets, Bills, where I have the question marks on offense. And then obviously the Patriots.
So this is the first division where we actually have a different list, right? The AFC West, which we already have done. We have done the NFC North. We have done the NFC South. Those three, we actually had all three similar rankings.
So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that post notification bell. We got a couple of more divisions to go. Maybe the Ayuk trade or not trade could happen. Check out that video eventually, whatever news happens with that. And make sure you guys check out the recent podcast episodes we dropped with Randeep Janda and Tanroop Mahal from Opera Hockey. They might be popping up right now. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.